Introduction. This is Group 1 Lucky Charms Treat Bars, and we are pitching to General Mills. We are part of the International Expansion Division, and we are identified Lucky Charms as a prime candidate for breaking into the South Korean market.
We chose Lucky Charms Treat Bars as the product most likely to break into the South Korean market. It's made of whole grain oats and marshmallows that are pressed into bar form with a mixture of honey and sugar providing the base layer of milk. It's infused with more than 10 different vitamins and nutrients. We also plan to develop a more locally familiar bar that is made with ingredients and imagery in the marshmallows that is more familiar in South Korean culture and cuisine. General Mills' strengths are their strong brand equity for both General Mills and the Lucky Charms brand. They have massive distribution channels and proven methods, an enormous sales force, and an ability to source sustainable raw materials. Their weaknesses are competition, specifically from Kellogg's, both of which share a 31% market share, customer demands about nutrition and sustainability of material, and store product placement can be muddled due to General Mills not owning the prime market share. General Mills' opportunities are to find new users and international expansion, establish strong brand equity in these overseas markets, and take advantage of new meal occasions that are occurring, especially in these international markets. General Mills' threats come from competition, such as Kellogg's, market entry from new brands and competitors, changes to food regulations in domestic and foreign markets. Differing domestic and foreign food regulations make things confusing on a production level, and consumer opinions continuing to sour towards processed foods.
So for quality standards, we're going to look at 4 major parts. For food, they want to be really transparent with their customers regarding nutrition and ingredients. For the people aspect, they really focus on employees and overall global inclusion. And then for the planet, they're working on lessening pollutants from their packaging and replacing grain. And then for the community, they focus on incentivizing employees and helping people with philanthropy and community outreach programs. So for Lucky Charms to break into the South Korean market, we're looking at the industry, and it looks like we have a positive increase for the next 5 years projected with a CAGR of 9.34% between 2020 and 2025. Basically, that all comes down to the market trends, where the population's trending towards healthy niche products and services in the marketplace. And the market share right now is heavily saturated with cereal and granola bars for the significant share of the market. So for our product market fit, we will want to make adaptations to our marshmallows and resemble Lucky Charms in South Korea. Overall, what this means is we have a tried market ready for our product in South Korea. For the competition part, we're going to be looking at major international players and the market outlook, where major players are saturating the market and creating a high barrier of entry. So what's essential is getting prime shelf real estate, which can make or break the new product entering the market. And then beating the competition is really going to come down to focusing on product innovation and distribution channels. And the major players in this is going to be Kellogg, Orion Confectionery Company, Oya Nutrition, Power Crunch, and General Mills Incorporated.
Country Report. The history of South Korea is reflected by its regional position in Asia and the different foreign influences over the nation's history. In modern times, the Korean peninsula is divided into 2 separate states, North Korea and South Korea. In the modern-day nation state of South Korea was created in August of 1948, and the country's rich history spans over 2,000 years. The opposing geopolitical superpowers in the Korean peninsula led to the Korean War to begin in 1950 and last until 1953. The war is estimated to have caused 3 million casualties with no peace treaty ever signed, and both countries are technically still at war till this day. The border between the 2 new countries was created along the 38th parallel, shown on the image to the right, that is known today as the DMZ, and it is the most militarized border on Earth. Geographically, South Korea is located in East Asia on the southern half of the Korean peninsula. The image on the right also depicts the country's topography, with the Tabaek Mountains on the right side shared along with North Korea. The country's location also allows it to experience 4 distinct climate variations. The majority of the country, including the largest city, Seoul, is classified under a monsoon-influenced hot summer, humid continental climate, which means the country experiences a cold, dry winter and a hot, humid summer. Country Report. South Korea is one of the most homogeneous societies in the world with a very small minority group. According to the World Bank, in 2019, South Korea had a total of about 52 million people living in its borders, and almost all of the population is ethnically Korean. The World Bank also notes that South Korea's total labor force as of 2019 is about 28.5 million. South Korea is known to be an educated, obsessed country with one of the world's most educated populations. In fact, the country ranked 4th in the world with adults having some kind of tertiary education and 47% of adults having college degrees. The education system is known to be one of the best in the world and experiences intense competitions with the young adults seeking employment after graduation.
According to the World of Education News and Review, the educational system in South Korea is known to be fierce and competitive. Their educational system is set up similar to our own in that there's 6 years of primary school, 3 years of lower secondary, and 3 years of secondary education. 90% of students claim to have 2 or less hours of free time on a weekend, and it's not uncommon at all for children to spend 16 plus hours a day in both schooling and after prep school. So in general, extremely fierce, but they are looking to tone down the level of competition in universities as they are seeing some repercussions mentally in those aspects. From a language perspective, there are 5 dialects throughout South Korea. The Korean family dialect is known as Koreak, yet the official dialect is known as Seoul. From a religious standpoint, according to the 2015 census, 51.6% of the population reports irreligious, yet those that do affiliate with religion are mainly among Christianity and Buddhism. From a business custom standpoint, there are some differences in South Korea than our own. Hierarchy plays a big role in this, right? People feel very comfortable communicating with others that they find equal to themselves. Something such as university, organization, and marital status are going to play a big role in these. Another thing is bowing, right? The junior person always bows first to the senior person when presented. This is oftentimes a form of greeting and show of respect. Business cards, big thing in South Korea. Don't put it directly in your pocket. Take a moment to really read the card, show that you're interested, and then place it on the table for the duration of the meeting. Gifts are also a very important thing, right? Bringing one to the first meeting is always welcomed, but do expect a price war. They do like to negotiate. They take their time, and they're not going to cut any corners. From a negotiation standpoint, oftentimes you look to schedule this about a week or 2 in advance. A lot of their meetings take place from around 10 to 12 a.m. or around 2 to 4 p.m., roughly 2-hour increments. But don't be too pushy, right? Again, like I said, this is a price war. They're going to take their time. They're not going to jump the gun and close the deal early for anything. So again, just be relaxed and state your thoughts clearly, and don't be expected to be out of there soon. Contracts, not often finalized. There's a lot of leeway in this. You can change them as you go along, but don't get fooled by any legality that comes behind it. From a business climate standpoint, South Korea is remaining pretty sustainable. They're going at a 3% rate throughout the last 5 years compound annually, which is pretty good. They remain at 3.8% unemployment with a 1.5% annual inflation rate. Their GDP is at $1.642 trillion, making up 1.3% of the world economy, and 1.7% projected growth over this next quarter. So again, pretty sustainable over the past few years, and looks to be a good economy to currently enter. From a resources standpoint, they got a lot of natural resources such as coal, tungsten, and graphite, and other minerals, iron, gold, silver, a lot of common ones you find around the world. Yet South Korea does produce a lot. From an agricultural standpoint, it's mainly things such as rice, some fruits like pears and strawberries. They tend to have decent soil to grow agriculture with, but not quite at the rate us in America do, but nonetheless. They also produce a lot of livestock. Pork, beef, and milk are extremely common throughout South Korea.
Country Report. Housing. Culturally, owning a home is considered critical for having a stable life in South Korea. The housing market has 3 major types: high-rise apartments, detached homes, and row housing. High-rises are the most popular within the 30 to 38-year-old demographic. Surface transportation. Trains are the most efficient and effective way to travel with 2 major forms. The KORail is managed by the Minister of Land and Infrastructure and Transportation and is the most affordable way to travel regionally. The KTX bullet train is revolutionary and capable of 300 kilometers, but is preferred for long-distance traveling in a very short period. Communication systems. South Korea is well known internationally for having one of the best global information and communication technology centers and is ranked 2nd in the Bloomberg Index for most innovative nations in 2020. The infrastructure has led to a high demand for testing and developing new AI and cybersecurity systems. Country Report. Government's role in business. The country relies heavily on the private sector with selective interventions and the market incentives provided by the government. This has been successful for the country's export rates, but has also come with a less than completely free market. The government's role in business was critical in saving the country in the past half a decade and is seen as a success in the international market, with other countries using South Korea as an example of how a nation can turn itself around with the proper planning and execution. Selling in a pandemic. While South Korea is believed to be the second global hotspot for COVID-19 pandemic, the government has taken aggressive steps towards controlling the virus and allowing businesses to operate as efficiently as possible. This has been accomplished by utilizing the TRUST program, which has included strategy, prioritizing transparency, robust screening and quarantining, unique but universal applicable testing, and strict control and treatment.
All right, alternatives and recommendations. So from a joint venture perspective, there are a lot of pros, right? Better resources, temporary. There's ways to exits, and there's low startup costs, right? There are a lot of good things that come with joining with a large-scale company that can really get you the sort of things that you would not be able to afford by yourself, right? But the cons in this are that there's imbalances and there's a lack of communication oftentimes, and flexibility can be restricted, right? So you get more out of it from a financial aspect, but you might be limited in some of the business decisions that you want to make. Licensing, the pros is that passive income, right? You get to think about it, license it off, and then you just get to get money for it, right? You get a lot more time out of your day, and there's reduced financial risks. Yet the cons of this is that there's a lot of intellectual property theft in this. You also have a big dependency on your licensor. They may not be doing the things that you thought they were going to do or producing what they thought they were going to produce. And you have to watch out for royalty litigation. So the main thing in licensing is a lot of legality aspects. From a direct investing standpoint, pros is that it's really easy for international trade, transfer of resources, and in general you're going to have an increased productivity because you're really pumping the money into it. But that being said, you're going to need money, right? Which goes to the cons, is that it requires such a high startup cost, right? And you have big risk for political change, right? You don't know exactly what the region you're investing in is going to change at both politically and economically, so you have to remain very currently knowledgeable about their market.
Lucky Charms Treat Bars positions itself as a highly nutritious breakfast snack that is affordable and exciting to younger consumers who reside in urban areas of South Korea. In the minds of consumers, Lucky Charms Treat Bars are a modern and highly convenient breakfast snack that encourages the superstition of good luck energy from our distinctive cultural good luck charm marshmallows. The newly designed South Korean marshmallows will differentiate our product from our competitors by creating a unique cultural and symbolic brand attachment towards our General Mills brand. Our SMART goals include penetrating the international market into the targeted cities of Seoul, Busan, Incheon, and Daegu by August of 2021. We also want to generate brand awareness by selling the product in familiar South Korean convenience stores of Hanwha Mart, Lotte Super, and Home Plus Express by August of 2021. We want to establish a business partnership with Handok Sikor Corporation to mass distribute our product and locate 10 convenient vending machines that will promote the brand into the city of Seoul by March of 2021. In addition, we want to promote the product by advertising in 3 LED billboard signs near schools and universities by February of 2021. This will generate a total market share of 5% of the healthy snack bar niche in South Korea by December of 2021. The product positioning map below illustrates the Lucky Charms Treat Bar snack choice and breakfast choice along with competitors. As noted below, our product is low price, highly nutritious, modern, and easy to make. Our overall goals are to increase revenue, increase market share, increase brand awareness, and engagement.
Our pricing strategy is to provide an affordable option for those consumers that are looking to have a tasty, sweet treat. Keeping a standardized pricing strategy, $2.99 a box and $1 for an individual bar, gives us competitive pricing in the industry when taking account currency exchange rates. Raising the prices will threaten to leave Lucky Charms Treat Bars untouched and on the shelves. So our box price is competitive, but we would recommend possibly looking into lowering the individual bar prices. We plan to have an adapted product platform in which the marshmallows will be adapted to shapes that are recognizable in South Korean culture. Design features will continue to be standardized in terms of bar shape, bar count, and boxes. Functional features will be a combination of adapted and standardized approaches. We're going to have 2 different versions of the bar, an American version that is more of a sweet treat, and a Korean version that contains more locally sourced ingredients. Packaging components will be adapted. All language will be translated to Korean. Nutritional information will comply with Korean packaging regulations. We look to use Lucky the Leprechaun to excite young children. We must trademark the Lucky Charms brand within South Korea. We want to continue an ensured commitment to the highest quality ingredients. A box of 8 will continue to cost about 3,300 won, and an individual will cost about 1,100 won. We believe a buy one get one deal on individual bars in places like convenience stores would also be beneficial. The product styling will be adapted. We are going to transform the shapes that make up the marshmallows to be more recognizable in Korean culture. Nutritional values and information will be adapted to Korea's regulations and guidelines. Sampling will be standardized, so we wish to set up and provide sampling stations at places where parents and children gather, schools, market stores, train stations. Service for General Mills vending machines will be adaptive. We want to create Lucky Charms only vending machines that will be found around Seoul. On this slide, you'll find our product concept sheet, in which you'll see the Lucky Charms bar wrapped in its Korean packaging. On this sheet, you'll also see our slogan in the bottom left-hand corner and sample copyright material on the right-hand corner. Our first sample advertisement features a close-up shot of our Lucky Charms bars. It also has our slogan, "They're magically delicious," translated into Korean. This is also our logical approach, aimed at parents buying a snack for their children, as it features product information in the bottom right-hand corner that says, quote, "A new and healthy alternative for snacking on the go," end quote, translated into Korean. Our second sample advertisement is more of a playful, colorful, and cartoony take on the original ad, and this is much more meant to encourage a child's imagination and spark their interest and ask their parents to buy this product for them. We continue to use the original Lucky Charms slogan and name adapted to the market and making it easy and straightforward to read.
So for our marketing mix and plan for the place, we're looking at our distribution channels. For our channels, we're going with supermarkets, convenience stores, and vending machines with partner companies Handok Sycor and Hanero Mart, which are the largest supermarket chain and vending machine distributions in South Korea. So what our tackle areas are going to be is transactional, logistical, and facilitation functions. And over here on the left, you can see in our flow, we've got product flow and information flow, which are really similar. And what those are going to do is go from manufacturer basically to the warehouse, to the distributor, supermarket, and the consumer. And through the information flow, we've got arrows going back and forth so that we can get information about any kinks in the way and handle those issues. For negotiation and ownership flow, they're going to look really similar because most of it's going to be from the manufacturer to the food distributor and the supermarket. So most of that is going to be handling contracts, handling ownership, and handling who's responsible for what. The promotional flow is what we're going to be a part of, which is going to be the advertising agency giving our ad creatives, our ad copy, and all of those materials to our food distributor and our supermarkets and our consumers. Okay, so for implementation, plan, and control, what we're mainly going to do is 5-step over a 6-month period of time. So step number 1 is going to research and identify their target market, and we're going to start manufacturing and sampling the product. Then month 2, we're going to start with working with our local businesses and joint venture deals to establish our distribution channels. Then month 3, we're going to write our ad copy, our creatives for the print media, and create a set marketing budget. Then for month 4, we're going to start marketing in full-page spreads across the top 10 popular magazines for the target market. And month 5, we're going to be evaluating our budget, our sales goals, revenues, profits, marketing push for the effectiveness and adapt as needed. Some contingency plans that we've come up with are 3 if-then statements. If we can't get marshmallow shapes adapted, then we'll use standard versions. If we can't make deals with our first choice company, then we'll make deals with Lot Super and Home Plus Express stores. If there are not 10 popular magazines for our market, then we'll transfer overflow marketing budget to mail-in flyers and billboards. Alright, so for our financial projection, we really want to price the treat bar at a competitive price and gain market share. Our market share goal is going to dominate at least 5% of the market share in the first 6 months of operating and 30% in the first 5 years. Capital goals are going to be 400% ROAS, and our advertising spend for that is going to be $46 million in year 1 with a 5% decrease in spending as the brand awareness increases. And then with all of that said, we're going to have a projected revenue goal of $703 million in the next 5 years. So, as you can see on our right-hand graph, everything is growing exponentially, and that's mainly going to be because of the market share increasing as years go on. So, for our evaluations, we have clear objectives with our 5 major steps to grow to 30% market share. We have smart and realistic goals, and our short-term financial impact occurs mostly in year 1, which is great because retained earnings are projected to increase exponentially over time. The biggest risk that we're going to be facing is negotiating with joint venture companies and learning Korean business customs, culture, and government policies. But overall, our decision is that this marketing proposal is a valid plan to penetrate the South Korean snack bar industry.
Conclusion. We believe our newly redesigned Lucky Charms cereal bar will achieve 5% market share in the first 6 months of operating and 30% in the first 5 years, and will attain the projected revenue of nearly $7 million in the same time period. This will be accomplished by utilizing our market strategy, position and differential strategy, promotional strategy, implementation plan and control actions to successfully center the South Korean market. The competitive price range will increase the market share of cereal snack industry while simultaneously taking over a target market of 18 to 27-year-olds with a product that better fits their cultural needs in South Korea.